Scott, thank you so much for joining us today to talk Chaos Theory Season 3. First question I have for you is, after 5 seasons of Camp Cretaceous and now 3 seasons of Chaos Theory, did you ever think it would come this far? How does it feel to have continued that story for this long?
Oh, boy, no, not in my wildest dreams could I have hoped for this, but I'm really glad it happened. This whole journey's been amazing to be a part of this franchise with an amazing fan base, and yeah, it's beyond anything I could have ever hoped for. So yeah, just feeling very grateful.
You've spent a lot of time with these characters now, the New Blood Six. You've watched them grow up. Do you feel like you've become really close with them, and have their stories gone in the direction that you expected back when you were writing Camp Cretaceous?
Well, I mean, it kind of depends. I mean, I would say yes and no, like anyone's kids, kind of, it's like, and I've become close with these characters. I've become very close with the actors who portray the characters and gotten to watch them grow up. When we started, Paul McKell was 12. He just turned 19 last week. So it's crazy. So some things, I don't know if I ever saw Kenji as becoming just sort of trying to get to the quiet life. Look, when we started writing Camp Cretaceous, we had no idea that Sammy and Yaz were going to become a thing. So, just watching how their story has unfolded, yeah, there's a lot of surprises. I don't know if we ever thought Ben would become Hunky Ben. So, yeah, I'd say many surprises along the way, but it's been a heck of a ride.
How has it been continuing to work with Leo Birnberg on the score for all of this, and just all of the emotions and action involved and all of that?
Man, that guy is the best. Not only is he just like a great guy and just a really fun collaborator. And at this point, between him and me and Aaron Hammersley, the other showrunner, I mean, we really have there's a shorthand, and there's like, we have all this, kind of history together. And he's just so locked in, and really, I get excited every time I get to listen to a different version that he's done for each episode. So yeah, Leo is an absolute joy to work with.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll have to cut this one, but what can you tell us about Leo and the Jurassic World Rebirth score? Have you heard anything about that?
No, I don't know anything about this. Is there a story?
We just enjoy his work, and they haven't announced a composer yet, and so we think he would deserve the big feature film. So yeah,
works for me. I think everybody should hire Leo.
As long as he comes back for season 4 or season 5.
Yeah, look, as long as I get first dibs, I want the guy to be working all the time. He's fantastic.
This season adds so much depth to Jurassic World Dominion. What was it like planning that, writing all of that, all of the connections, planning that out? And was it hard to keep the close ties to Dominion a secret all this time?
Yeah, it wasn't so much as keeping a secret. It's just figuring it out. There's a lot of moving parts. In a lot of ways, this series is sort of the inverse of what we did on Camp Cretaceous, where we kind of started in the timeline of Jurassic World and just sort of broadened out, where is this one we're sort of heading towards Dominion. And so, it's one of the coolest, it's one of the hardest, but also most fun things about writing these shows is, it's Bethany and me and the writers and just going like, okay, well, where can we put our characters that is plausible, that doesn't break the canon, but can provide more context or depth or something that if you've seen it in the feature, if you can go and watch our show and then maybe go watch Dominion again or vice versa, then hopefully it all feels like it pulls together. So it's tricky, it's hard to do, but it's a real fun puzzle to try to figure out.
For sure. I felt a bit like the Leo DiCaprio meme pointing at the screen when I was watching, because like I enjoyed Dominion a lot, and so I was just like, oh, like it wastes no time with the connections, and it was awesome. This season also continues the beautiful visuals and animation. Can you share a bit about working with the animators to achieve that?
Yeah, I mean, look, everybody's game has just risen from the beginning of Camp Cretaceous, and really since season 1 of this. The job that our animation heads, Dan Godinez and Ryan Donahue, Haley Carroll, Jose, and our animation team in Taiwan, CG. I mean, they just done an amazing job. And one of the great things, and we discovered this back on Camp Cretaceous, is just as a writer, when you can sell something on an actor, on a character's face, where you can pull out a line of dialogue because you can understand what they're feeling by just the acting. I mean, it doesn't get a lot better than that. So yeah, all credit to the team, just really bringing this, not only that, but also these dinosaurs feel alive, and they feel they're animals. They're not monsters. And, you walk the line sometimes with them feeling too anthropomorphic, but I think our team just really nails in just making this whole world feel real.
So we ask this every season, which of the New Blast 6 characters has been your favorite to write in season 3?
Yeah, always asking me to pick between my kids, Jack. I gotta say, boy, it's hard to tell. I mean, Brooklyn's really, she's made plenty of questionable choices as this series is going on, but seeing her story unfold, and none of our characters really start this season or make their way through this season on steady footing, and the fact that Brooklyn is, still off on her own and trying to figure out who she is and what she stands for. And I think some of her decisions and feelings are even surprising to her. So, if I have to pick one, I'd probably say Brooklyn this season, but there's so much great stuff for all of the rest of the Nublar 5 as they were to really explore this season.
This season as a whole seems to dive back into the thriller aspects that sort of flowed through the first season. Did you enjoy continuing to explore those darker aspects of Jurassic World?
Yeah, it's fun. It's what first drew me to the idea of doing this series in the first place, is just kind of getting a little darker, a little grittier. And also pairing that alongside of, we're so entwined with a blockbuster like Dominion this season too. So really kind of marrying the two, these darker thriller aspects with this big budget blockbuster of Dominion. Again, a real fun challenge, but I'm excited for people to see what we came up with.
Season 3 felt like a bit of a love letter to Dominion. Did you work with Colin this season to tie the events to Dominion? But either way, was it fun having it all connect? Talk to us about that, and talk to us about Soyona as well.
Yeah. Well, anytime we break a season, Colin's in the writer's room for a minimum of a day. Sometimes we get him for more, sometimes we don't. So, I gotta say, as far as connecting the dots to it, I got to give a lot of credit, as always, to head writer Bethany Armstrong Johnson, because, as well as all the writers, but we really spent a lot of time trying to make sense. And when we're watching Dominion, before we even started writing, I think this was pre-season 2, and we just kind of started to see where we were going once Dominion was out. And you see little things. You see Santos telling Dodgson, I wasn't crazy how things worked last time, or something along those lines. So then that gets your mind going, well, what could that have meant? Or where could we be? Could Brooklyn and the Handler be in the back of that truck? And then you watch the scenes over in Dominion, it's like, yeah, this works. And so a lot of pressure testing what works and what kind of got our juices flowing, what got us excited. And luckily, Colin and the team and at Universal and Frank Marshall, everyone was pretty on board with what we wanted to try. Definitely having Colin as a resource has just been amazing throughout this whole process, as far as fine tuning and what his intent as a writer and a director were. But we definitely we're on the same page as we undertook this thing.
That's awesome. All the coordination there. That's really great. And so this season adds a lot of depth to the Handler, somewhat humanizes her a bit. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I when we did season 1, I don't know if we necessarily saw it going this way, but when you really think about it, the finale of season 1, she really puts the health and the well-being of her babies, her raptors, ahead of the mission to basically take out the kids. So I think once we got there, then it wasn't too far a reach to go, okay, well, we know these raptors end up with Santos because we see that in Dominion, and we know the Handler cares about them. And so, it's what writing is, you just sort of like let your mind go and go, well, what makes sense? What would be the most entertaining? What would be the most emotional? And we just a lot of talking in the writer's room, and as well as with the artists and directors. And I'm excited where we came out with it.
There was a lot of discussion and debate about whether she was a robot. So
yes, I know. Yeah, I saw a lot of that stuff, and also it's like, I think it was someone from our mix house, and it was just like, oh, I can't wait to learn all about the Handler's backstory and everything like that. And it's like, some characters you don't want. She's a mystery, and I think we gave just enough, and I hope people aren't disappointed that she isn't some alien dinosaur robot hybrid. Maybe she is. Who's to say?
Yeah, we never know. You never know. I was going to ask very quickly, we finally meet Ben's girlfriend. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's weird how things come out. What was once a kind of a throwaway joke in season 1 about Ben's alleged girlfriend living in Europe. And then we know the story needs to, by necessity, take us close to the Dolomites. And then we just start kind of going there and start thinking about it. And, so yeah, I was excited, and I was excited to bring Gia to life and show this, and also kind of show a new side of Ben, seeing Ben through someone else's eyes who doesn't have the shared experience of little hand sanitizer dork pouch Ben from Camp Cretaceous. And it's we've all kind of experienced that. You see someone that you grew up with and see how other people view them in a different way, and it's that's fun stuff to get into. And the work that Beatrice Grano, who's in season 2 of White Lotus, did in voicing Gia, I thought she was just amazing. So there was definitely some real vibe in between Ben and Gia. It was really fun to see.
It was a lot of the comic relief this season. It really worked on screen.
Yeah, it's funny. We did get into the thriller stuff, obviously, but there was some stuff, like, especially when we're in Italy, which it's like, wow, is this, when you're kind of figuring out tone and everything, it's like, wow, this feels almost rom-com-y, what we have going on in Italy. But, you know, there are definitely some times where the story gets dark that you need those moments as well, those moments of humor to kind of lighten up the vibe.
For sure. I thought some of that humor, that sort of family humor in Italy was great. So season 4 looks to continue this love for Dominion as we head towards Biosyn Valley. Is there anything you're able to tease about that?
Well, you know, Caleb, as usual, when we talk about an upcoming season, they don't let me make these decisions, sadly. But, you know, you can see where the story is heading, you know, and or where we hope it heads. So, you know, all I can say is, you know, we got a plan. We got these, both sides of the story seem to be leading us to one place. And I think it'll be real exciting if we get there. Plenty of awe and wonder. I haven't said awe and wonder enough, and I wanted to say awe and wonder just for anyone who's watching. There's a lot of wonder too.
Plenty of awe and wonder upcoming in season 4.
Yes.
You said that, I didn't. But all I'm saying is I think that would be a real, you know, considering where Dominion goes in its third act, I think there'd be a lot of fun, a lot of action and adventure, and also, you know, a lot of amazing character stories to keep investigating.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Great season, Scott. Honestly, great job. And team, you and the team have blown away. People are going to love this season is what I'm trying to say.
I appreciate that so much, you know, and thanks to everyone out there watching this. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate all the fans, and I'm so glad that you enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate the time, Scott. Thank you so much, and see you for season 4.
Okay.
Brooklyn, this isn't who you really are.
You don't know me. Not anymore. What is that? Not what.